Hello out there. Is anybody there? Let's see. Awesome. Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Let's see, we got 4 people. I think this Wi-Fi is working well. Yep, here come the comments. Nice to see you. Hello from Washington. Gary's doing good. Awesome. Well, it's good to be on some good Wi-Fi, so I don't think I'll have any issues this time. I'm actually a friend that I've made out here. He had friends who lived in this area, so I'm actually getting to like stay at a real place. So it's pretty nice, not having to depend on a motel that's like, oh yeah, we have free Wi-Fi, and then it doesn't work, you know. So anyway, yeah, so I have pretty much officially whooped the Sierra Nevada. Most of it is done. Oh, it says what area is that? Actually, I'm in the South Lake Tahoe area, so not directly, but pretty close. But anyhow, so the Sierra Nevada, I guess, technically ends here-ish. And I'm sure, you know, it's not like going to be like a night and day transition when I hit the trail later this afternoon, but anyway, I'm happy to know that the worst of it is behind me, you know, because it was just like snowpocalypse, you know, everybody's gonna die, all the thru hikers are gonna die, whatever. And there have been some people who've been hurt, you know, this year, but for the most part, a lot of it was fear mongering, and you know, it's just one of those things, you know, you got to get out there and see what you think of the situation yourself, and that's what I wanted to do, and I kept feeling like, you know, I could press on, so I did. But anyway, I'll turn it over to y'all. Do y'all have any questions about the PCT in general, or, you know, thru hiking, or this Sierra Nevada, this section that I just went through, or just anything at all about the PCT or gear or what's happening, any of that stuff? I will be happy to answer any questions that y'all might have. Let's see. Visit Truckee, beautiful town. Yeah, I heard it is. Not sure if I'm going to make it in there or not. The Sierras did slow down my average a little bit. I'm actually surprised I was able to do some 20-mile days, and finished up this section with a 26-mile day. So I was actually really proud of that. And I thought finishing up the whites on the AT with an 18-mile day was good, but yeah, this 26-mile day was a good day. And I saw somebody asked about fire near Yosemite. Yeah, so that was kind of scary. I'm like, you know, trouncing through the mountains, and I kind of smelled smoke, and then things got pretty smoky looking for a couple days. Luckily, you know, I was already north of Yosemite, but we had some windy days there, and I was just like, this is kind of sketchy, you know. I had no service. I had no way to really know what was going on. I just kind of hoped if it was something real bad that, you know, that somebody would be somewhere on the trail, a ranger or something, kind of letting people know. But that's one of the good things, you know, you get to turn off society and the world and news and all that stuff when you go out in the woods. But then when you need to know the news and some things like that about wildfires or whatever, you don't know. And with it being so windy, I was like, man, this could spread in no time. So but I did end up getting some service and finding out it was Yosemite, and I was north of there, so you know, I felt safe enough to continue. Alright, so let's see, got some questions in here. Can you ditch your bear canister? Yes, actually I was able to get rid of it at Sonora Pass, which was, oh goodness, at right after mile 1000. I'm nearly at 1100 now, so it was right after mile 1000. I want to say like the next day of hiking. I got to Sonora Pass and was able to send it home. I held on to my ice axe though and micro spikes because Perk is ahead. He's only like 65 miles ahead, I think, right now at this moment, so I can actually catch him. But anyhow, he told me that there were still a couple of snowy, sketchy areas, you know, and I think in most years, hikers send them home, the ice axe and micro spikes around Sonora, maybe even wait till now. I think there might be a little bit of sketchy snow left, but I'm probably going to go ahead and chance it and send home my ice axe and micro spikes now just to cut the weight. There have been ways to like kind of scramble around the real sketchy snow if it gets steep. Of course, then you're on like loose gravel, which isn't much more stable, but you know, I've been able to make it work. So, all right, let's see. How do you like the carbon trekking poles compared to the others? I really like them. I mean, I guess in my mind, I know I need to be a little more careful with them. Like, for example, singing and dancing and whatever going down the trail, you know, my other ones, I used to hit them together like it was an instrument, and these, you know, I kind of tend to try not to do that. And in the snow, you know, when I've slid down and tried to catch myself, I've thought, oh man, I hope they don't break. But so far, they've been great. I really love my trekking poles a lot. So yeah, I mean, I haven't had any issues with them. And the locking mechanisms on these poles are really good. They don't slip at all. Let's see. So what's your favorite mountain lake so far? Well, I'd have to say, you know, it wasn't on the actual PCT. It was a side trail. I think it was called Bullfrog Lake side trail that goes over Kearsarge Pass to get into Bishop. So there was a lake there that had trout in it, and I got to catch some, and so that was kind of cool. So I probably would say that was my favorite one so far. The first one that we saw was Chicken Spring Lake, I believe that's what it's called, and that one was really beautiful. Just also, I mean, it was the first like alpine lake that I had really seen, so I mean, I was excited, but all of them are so pretty, and especially the ones that have like patches of ice, because some of them are still completely iced over, but the ones that had like patches of ice, it was just like, I don't know, cool to watch the patches float across. But the Sierras have been like stunning, like just amazingly beautiful. I'm like, wow, I'm living in a postcard. Like, I know I said that in the desert too, but like really now. And the other day I sent my brother, well, my whole family, a picture of you know, what view I was looking at, and my brother was like, don't take pictures of postcards and send it to us and, you know, try to act like you're seeing something cool. And I'm like, no, I really am. I live in a postcard. Okay, let's see. How often have you had to hike uphill to find better spots to cross rough streams? Okay, luckily I found out that they have, and this is great for people if you know folks like doing section hikes or the JMT or anything like that. The PCT has the PCT water report, and they've also been putting like snow reports and like river crossings and stuff like that on it too. In the desert, it's like, you know, to let you know if the water source is flowing or not. In the Sierras, it's to let you know, if you should go for it or not. So the river crossings have been pretty sketchy, and most of the time I've been able to find a log, and somebody that went before will leave a note on that water report that I was talking about and say like, log 1 mile upstream. I haven't had to go too far. I would say a mile or less on most of the crossings to find something a little bit better, which I'm really glad, because I heard like, oh man, you'll have to walk 5 or 6 miles, there's only been one that was, well, I guess really two, that were really kind of sketchy, that there was no better way. And in those instances, you can typically, if you're hitting them late in the afternoon and they're sketchy, if you just camp and wait till the next morning, a lot of times the flow rate is down. I guess, logically, if the snow refreezes, and that water has had a chance that melted from the day before to flow down, then, the river's not going to be flowing as quickly. So the later in the day it gets, the more snow melt you have, the faster the river flows. I mean, it makes sense. So there was one that I had to swim across. Luckily, you know, I haven't been alone for most of the Sierra Nevada, so but yeah, there was definitely one that we swam. There was no log, you know, that we could tell. Nobody had written about one in the report, and the flow was low enough, and we had enough people to kind of, you know, help each other out that we made it work just fine. But it's been an adventure, that's for sure. Okay, let's see. Lake Tahoe's cool to check out if you have time. Yeah, you know, it's like this this internal battle, you know. It's like I need time off and I want to explore some of these towns and all of that, but now I'm like, okay, to finish, you know, October 1st, I've got to do like between 20 and 25 miles on average per day to get there. So, you know, now it's like, okay, I gotta make miles. I'll still get my breaks in, and I'll still visit places and stuff like that, but it's just, you know, now I've got to kind of watch it a little bit more. But I'm glad that I went straight north through the Sierras. I would much rather be kind of pressed for time than to have flipped, you know, because I feel like seeing the Sierras like this, you know, not a lot of people get to. So this was like the challenge of our year, and I don't know, or I'm just stubborn. Either way. Let's see. Aaron, did you bring a gun? Really? Editor trying to be funny here. No, I didn't. I just brought these 2 guns, and that's it. No actual firearm. Okay, how far are your videos behind where you're hiking? Mileage wise, I guess about a few hundred miles. Time wise, a few weeks, I guess. Yeah, the last video had me at Kennedy Meadows, which is mile 700. So, and I'm getting close to 1100 now. So really 300 to 400. But it just depends, you know, how much footage is covered in one episode. All right. Are there any resupply points in the Sierras, or do you have to make it straight through? Oh, well, there are. So you don't have to make it straight through. That would be crazy. That would be a lot of weight. But so you start at Kennedy Meadows. The next place that you could potentially go is Lone Pine, which is only like 2 days north of Kennedy Meadows or so. So, and then after that, you're looking at 6 days to 8 days to Kearsarge Pass, which goes into Bishop. But the problem is that's like a 6 to 7 mile side trail, and you're talking about in snowy, rough terrain. So luckily I was able to do Forester and Kearsarge Pass in one day, and I felt like I was going to die from exhaustion, but I did it. But you know, a lot of people take like a full day to do Kearsarge Pass, so that's like 6 or 7 miles of non-trail miles, and then the day that you go back in, you know, if you do 10, then you've only got a few miles on the PCT of actual mileage. So you're almost taking a 0 day pretty much, or you're doing at least 2 Neros just to get on the side trail to go to town, you know. So you could skip Kearsarge, but you would be toting a lot of days of food or starving yourself. So that was not fun. There are other side trails that are even longer. I think Perk took one called Sawmill Pass, and it drops you down in the desert where he said there was no water, and you know, it was a big drop in elevation because, you know, you're up in the mountains and then now you're down in the desert, and it was like, I can't remember, 12 miles or 14 miles or something like that. So I just didn't want to do that. I ended up just carrying extra weight, more food. But there are places like VVR. You ride a little pontoon boat to get, it's Vermilion Valley Resort. But don't let the word resort fool you, because it should be called like Vermilion Valley Fish Camp. I mean, it was a great little charming place, but it was really expensive because they know that they are very conveniently located, and then, you know, it takes them a while to get food and stuff like that in there. But anyhow, so there are places along the way. You don't have to tote everything, but it's just not as convenient in the Sierras as it is in other, you know, as it was in the desert anyway. Okay, let's see. How many days of food were you able to fit in your bear canister? That's a really good question. Okay, so I'm just gonna be very honest. My bear can is called the Weekender. I don't remember the capacity of it right now offhand, but it did not fit all my food. I still had a bear bag. There are a lot of people who, just to meet the requirement, will get, I don't know if y'all have seen like the BV 500s, the Bear Vault 500. That's what the bear can that most people carry. But they'll even get not that big one. They'll get like the little bitty one so that they just meet the requirement of, oh, I have a bear canister, so you're not getting, you know, in trouble with a ranger or anything, because all you have to do is have a bear canister. Nobody makes you prove that all your food will fit in it. So I would say most of the thru hikers, all of their food does not fit in their bear can. Not the first day out of town anyway, because it's such a long stretch. So I'm not saying that it's right that they're doing that. I'm just saying that the whole point of you should carry a bear canister to have all your food in and protect bears from getting your food. People are just meeting the requirement, and they're not. It's not actually being accomplished, I guess, is what I'm saying, by them requiring it. So it's kind of silly anyway. I mean, it's up to you to take care of yourself and to make sure that you don't have your food, you know, under your head as a pillow. And I think people are doing that. But so yeah, not all of my food fit when I was carrying 8 days of food. I think that I would say I could probably have fit like 4 to 5 days in that bear can probably. So maybe, you know, if you do want to go through this year's and you're going to carry 8 days of food, then I would suggest stepping it up to a bigger size than the BV 500, and for me, the Weekender. So mine was a Wild Ideas Barricade Weekender. So, yeah. Alright, let's see. Do you get altitude sickness? Did you have to pitch your tent in the snow? Okay, so I don't think that I didn't get altitude sickness. I will say that I noticed as I started getting higher up, being short of breath even on flat areas, and I think there were a couple of days where I had a headache. I haven't really had headaches on the trail, so I would say that it was probably associated with something like that, but I made a point to hydrate really well, to drink. I actually got these little packets from an outfitter in Bishop that was just like replenishing, you know, electrolytes and all that, and they called it like altitude something. But I think, you know, we've kind of gradually gone up from the desert, so it's not like I went from sea level to 14,000 on Mount Whitney, you know, in one day, like a lot of people do, and then they, you know, they do get sick. So it's been a very gradual, I mean, sure, it might be a couple thousand feet change in one day, but, you know, still. But no, I haven't had to pitch my tent on the snow. I have been on like a rock island and snow all around me, but I've managed to find like a dry spot. And also, somebody emailed and messaged and wanted to know about would I suggest having like the freestanding contraption for the Z-Packs duplex, or like a freestanding tent. Do I recommend that? So my, I've said this before, my big Agnes Fly Creek UL2 was not fully freestanding. So if it was going to rain, you would need to stake out the rain fly. Sure, I could make it stand up without worrying about, you know, if it was real rocky, without worrying about staking it out and have some kind of cover over me. But in the rain, it would have been pointless. The duplex, you know, you do have to stake it, or what I've done in some areas that were really rocky, or if it was real windy, I'll like stake it and then put a rock on top of it. But if I can't get the stake in the ground, you can literally put the stake through the loop, lay it on the ground, and put a rock on top of it, and it works just fine. So found ways to make it work without any issues. So sure, while a freestanding tent might be easier, to me it was worth saving the weight, and I really like the duplex. So and I've been able to make it work. I haven't had a night where I'm like, well, I guess I can't make it work, I'll have to cowboy, or I hope it doesn't rain, or, you know, anything like that. I have cowboy camp though, in the Sierras, in the desert, and just sometimes if you want to get up real early, it's just convenient. And in that case, I'll put my tent down on the ground and just lay on top of it as if it was a ground cloth, you know. So Alright, let's see. Do you, let's see, ever do any real cooking or only dehydrated meals? Tea, coffee? So, I mean, I have packed out. I'm trying to think if I don't know that I've packed out any, like, legit real food on this trail. I'm trying to think. I mean, I did s'mores, you know, I packed out stuff to do s'mores. I mean, on the AT, there were times when I packed out, like, some meat. Oh, yeah, we did bacon. We did bacon one night. So, yeah, there have been times where definitely I'll get some, you know, real food, whether on the AT or, like I said, the bacon on this trail. Especially if it's, like, a shorter section and I'm not carrying, like, a bunch of food, you know. So if it's, like, a 2 or 3 day section, then I don't mind the extra weight because, you know, real food does weigh more. I mean, it's just, it's got the water weight in it, right? It's not dehydrated. So, I pack out avocados a lot, but not a whole lot of actual cooking. I've been wanting to do, like, those hobo dinners. I don't know if y'all have heard of that, but you take, like, hamburger meat, patty it up, put onions and potatoes and carrots and Worcestershire sauce. I can't say that very well, but anyhow, and then roll it full, and that would be great to put on some coals, and I've been talking about that a little bit, but, I don't know, I might, you know, today when I resupply, I might get some like brats or something like that, because, you know, stuff like that's fun, and it's a morale booster, and I have been, toting out garlic, and, like, roasting, like, cloves of garlic. You can stab it on a stick, or, like, cut a V in a stick, and just kind of wedge it in there, and roast it over the fire, so, I'm glad you said something about that. Okay, and then tea and coffee always. Like, I drink coffee every morning. I've been cooking on the fire at night to conserve fuel lately, but in the morning for breakfast and at lunch, I usually use my stove. And, yeah, sometimes tea, sometimes coffee. Coffee always in the morning, though. Cold nights. There have been some pretty chilly nights. There were 1 or 2 nights where my shoes were completely frozen when I woke up the next morning, and but it really hasn't been too bad. And, you know, the Sierras have not been real windy, which I was kind of worried about. I mean, we've had a couple windy days, but judging from the desert and how windy it was, I was really worried that, you know, I was just gonna freeze to death and it would always be cold and windy. But I've sweated walking over the snow, so it gets hot during the day. Alright, the Squeeze in downtown Truckee is a wonderful diner to refuel, great morale booster. Yeah, I might do it. I've heard how awesome Truckee is, but we'll see. I've heard about a place in Sierra City, too, where you can, like, catch your own fish and they'll cook it for you. I mean, I know I could catch my own and cook it, too, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool. Alright, what are you eating now compared to what you were eating? Well, I mean, for example, in the mornings, I was doing oatmeal, like, every morning, for a while, but I've kind of swapped to something non-cook, even though I still boil water for my coffee. I've just kind of started, like, getting a little worn out on oatmeal, and I've learned on this trail, I learned from the AT, to swap stuff out before you get sick of it. So I've about ruined myself completely forever on peanut butter, but I've started being able to come around to it. Some of those, like, Squeeze packets, like the Justin's or like the little Jif things, you know, I can snack on it. I can do peanut butter crackers. I just don't want a tortilla with peanut butter on it. There's no way. I just can't do it. That's blah. But yeah, there were some things like Cliff Bars, but here recently I started getting Cliff Bars. You know, Kind bars are good. I don't know. I try to swap the bars that I carry each section. I really love dry, like, dehydrated fruit, and stuff like that. Jerky. Yeah, you know what I really wish that I could do? Those, there are these paleo meals to go, and I really wish that I could eat those for, like, all my meals, and then for the snacks, do things like bars and things that aren't just, like, straight sugar, although I do love Snickers and Butterfinger. I really like Butterfingers, but I just wish that I could kind of quit having, like, straight sugar intake so that I would be a little bit healthier. But those paleo meals to go are so good. I got a couple of those and tried them, and you know, yeah. So that's really what I wish I could do. So if you, you know, if money's not a concern and you're preparing for a backpacking trip, I definitely suggest those paleo meals to go. And then, you know, some snacks like fruit and jerky and stuff like that during the day would be good. Man, y'all get me talking about food and I'll just talk about it forever. Oh, okay, James, I see. Yeah, sometimes y'all have names under here and I'm like, wait, who is this? Okay, thanks, Dixie. Wild Ideas now makes the Blazer, which is between the Weekender and Expedition. Was wondering which to get. Okay, so, yeah, I would definitely go with the Blazer if you're going to go more than 4 or 5 days. And cramming 4 or 5 days into the Weekender, obviously it's called the Weekender, I guess, for a reason, right? So the Blazer might be better. But as far as the Blazer or the Expedition, I'm not sure. I guess you could call them and ask them, see what they think. Or I wonder if anybody in the Homemade Wanderlust Backpacking Forum on Facebook, I wonder if they have used the Barricade brands at all, or even just their BV, their Bear Vaults, anything, just what capacities they're using. So you might want to try to reach out in there and see if anybody can answer. Yeah, $288, yeah. The carbon fiber, you know, to go light, right, is always very, very expensive. So, let's see, hobo foil dinners. I do that camping. It's really good. Yeah, I do it at home even, like in the oven. Those hobo dinners are so good. With all the wildfires going on, is there a burn ban yet? Not that I've heard of. I know above 10,000 feet in elevation you're not supposed to have fires. But other than that, and I think in oh goodness, Yosemite, I think it was like maybe above 9,000 you weren't supposed to, or maybe, I can't remember exactly. But I think they'd had a different rule. They may have a burn ban in Yosemite now, but I'm not sure, to be honest. But in the area that I'm at so far, I haven't heard anything about that. How solid is the material of the duplex tent? Could a stick or a dog make a hole in Cuban fiber? I mean, supposedly it's pretty strong. I do have some very small pinholes on the top of mine. I actually emailed Z-Packs because they have this tape stuff that they actually attach, like, where you close the doors to your tent and, like, the lines to, like, stake it out and stuff like that. So I'm hopefully going to get some of that just to kind of cover those little pinholes. But, I mean, I don't know of anybody that has... I'm trying to think if I've seen anybody that has a dog sleeping in their duplex. But, I mean, it's pretty strong material, you know. But I think definitely you could puncture it. So I don't know for sure on the stick and the dog, but that probably, I would contact them and see what they say. I mean, they're probably going to tell you to be very careful with it, but yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that one better. What is your pack weight after water and food? I know it depends on water supply, but an average. So the day I left Scout and Frodo's in San Diego, I think my pack was like 32 pounds. I want to say it's like with a 15-ish pound base weight, and that was with food and water for 4 days maybe. And then the water, I think I had like a liter or two. So I think it's a little less. My base weight is a little less now because I have shaved some things off. Well, once I sent home the micro spikes and the ice axe, but I'm actually going to do another lighter packs for like all of my Sierra Nevada gear. So I don't know exactly what my base weight is, but I'll find out with that. But now it should be a little bit less than the 15 once I send all that home. But I mean, I think most people out here are definitely less than 40 pounds. I think mine probably ranges between, if I had to guess, like 28 and 35, which is kind of a big range, but it's definitely less than it was on the AT because, you know, I've got lighter gear this time. But in the desert I was toting a lot of water. There was a time, it was a 40-mile dry stretch, I toted 6 liters of water, so that's what, 2.2 pounds per liter. So yeah, because 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, 1 liter is 1 kilogram. Yeah, so it's pretty heavy. Let's see. Brats and sauteed onions. Yes. Yeah, that sounds really good. Sorry I'm late. I'll never forgive you. No, just kidding. Dixie, your videos seem to be taking on a more, call it, spiritual feeling lately. Are you feeling changed by your experiences, or are you just sharing that side more? You know, I think maybe a little bit of both. That's a good question. I think that the trail continues to allow you time to reflect on your life, and like I've said before, you know, your mind, or at least my mind, is a much noisier place than I had imagined, especially when I started the AT and just kind of where I was in my life at that time. I had just left a job that I was very, very unhappy at, and just did not put me in a good situation, or nor was it healthy at all in general. So, you know, when I left that job and moved back home and then started the AT, you know, my mind was just not settled. And you use things every day to distract you from that. Facebook, email, just calling your friends, the radio, music, whatever. So when you're out there on the trail and you make a point, especially in the mornings, I love the mornings because they're so still, and like the birds are kind of starting to chirp, but they haven't gone crazy yet, you know. You might see a deer walking around, and everything's just kind of calm and still, and you really have time to like think. And all of the things that you don't want to think about, but you probably need to think about and work through, those are the first things that like surface in your mind. So I feel like because I've done the AT and now I'm on this one, like I have a lot less noise, and I don't know, I just think about random things. So I guess I just try to share with y'all, like when I have a thought that I keep kind of, it keeps recurring, I decide maybe to like, well, maybe I should share this, you know, this is what I'm currently thinking about. And I think everyone knows, you know, on a backpacking trip, like you wake up and you cook and you hike and you eat and you sleep and you do it all again, you know. But I just kind of want to try to share some of the other things that happen out here, whether it's thoughts or the people that you meet, and just all of that, that's part of a through hike that maybe is not apparent on the surface. So I don't know if that helps at all, but yeah, nature is a pretty special thing to immerse yourself in. So maybe I'm just more comfortable sharing now, I guess. My duplex came with repair tape in the inside mesh bag. Yours didn't come. You know, I don't reckon it did. Or maybe it did and it's at home. I'm glad you said that. I'll have to ask my mom to dig through all my junk and see. Because, yeah, I figured there was just some tape that I could just put over the little, I mean, it's a tiny little pinhole. It's nothing serious. I wonder how carbon fiber would stand up to a bear if the pole snaps so easily. I think I'll stick with the bear vault. I mean, good point. However, I mean, just the, I guess, engineer in me, you know, you think of like a little thin pole, gonna be much easier to snap than like, you know, a big bear can. But I guess also you're talking about the weight of me versus the weight of a bear. But, I mean, as long as you're not, like, I still wouldn't keep your bear can in your tent with you. So as long as it's out there, you know, I'm kind of like, it's my offering to the bears. Like, I'm not going to starve to death in one day. I can find a way to get to town, or, you know, whatever, if for some reason my bear or my food was taken. But as long as the bear can have it not in my tent with me, then that'd be great. So, but yeah, to each his own. The bear vault is the most popular bear can out here. I see the BV500 all the time, and then, like I said, the smaller ones just for people wanting to meet the requirements. Please let Aaron know he's doing a fantastic job with the video production. Well, as far as I know, he's still sitting in here right now. So I will tell him, Aaron, you are doing a fantastic job with the video production, Scott says. So, but anyway, yeah. So, does anyone else have any other questions right now? Great to hear the bear canister is doing well. Yes, Joe. Like, I have really loved it. It's worked out wonderfully, and you know, everyone's like, wow, that's such a cool bear can, you know. And I've only seen I think one other person with it. It's funny because she's got a hyperlight pack also and the bear can, but so, you know, we looked like little twinsies running around in the Sierras. But yeah, does anyone have any other questions about different gear that I've used in the Sierras, or just anything in general. I'm actually gonna do a I've recorded the new gear that I picked up to do the Sierras, so that'll be coming out soon. I think Aaron's working on it right now, so y'all can actually see some of that stuff. How do you feel schedule-wise? I feel good still. Like, it's still possible to get to Canada on time, and you know, if I feel like I have to flip for some reason, something unforeseen happens, I guess I could, but especially now that I've trudged through the Sierras, I really don't want to do that. I want to just do a full no-bow through hike. But I think it's doable. It's possible. It's just I can't get stuck in these vortexes that you find in town. You know, you get to town, and like today I'm going to have free pizza for lunch. There's this place that does free pizza. Like, how can you be a through hiker and on trail hear about free pizza and not get off and go to that town? I mean, come on. It's like, you just wouldn't be a through hiker anymore if you didn't go get free pizza. So there are things like that are a distraction, but I mean, a distraction from what? Like, it's all part of the experience. So but yeah, as long as I can put in some bigger miles in Oregon. Perk said he did a 30-mile day the other day, and it didn't sound like he had to kill himself to do it. He's not in Oregon, but he's only like 60-something miles ahead. So I you know, I feel pretty good about it. I think I'll be able to. I think I'm stubborn enough that I'm gonna find a way to make it work, because I came out here to through hike it, and that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. I'll PM you about Trail Magic. It finally worked last time. Okay, awesome. Well, I will look for that. How much of a trail family do you have now? Okay, so my trail family, I actually do have a crew that I've been hanging out with, and it feels like I have 5 new brothers that I never wanted. No, just kidding. But there is a group of 5 that actually rolled up on me. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell y'all. So I was hiking out of Bishop, and I didn't really feel close to anybody, really, you know, other than Perk, who was ahead, and Chance, who was ahead. So it was like, I kind of felt alone, even though there were people around me. But then I met Dibs when I got back on trail from going home for graduation, and he's a really cool fella and everything. But I think we're both pretty independent people. So it was like, kind of like teammates, you know, whatever, and we hiked around each other for a while. But when I got to Bishop, he decided to take a 0, and he had gotten in the next morning. I got in like the night before, so I'd already had my 0, so then he was taking his 0, and I decided to leave town. Well, I left with a car full of people and went up to go back over Kearsarge Pass, and then after that is Glen Pass, that's actually on the PCT. But I just didn't want to do a pass late in the afternoon, so I decided to camp before it, and that's when I went fishing in the lake and just took my sweet time, you know, because we had all talked about how we were going to camp right before Glen Pass. Well, when I got to Glen Pass that night, everyone was gone, so they had gone up and over it already, and it was about to get dark, so I wasn't about to climb Glen Pass in the dark, you know. I'm like, I not hiked in the Whites like an idiot. I didn't really want to not hike in the Sierra Nevada like an idiot, so I just decided, well, I'm just going to camp right here. Well, I ended up finding there was this Australian man, and he was there, and we talked that night, and we're like, all right, we're going to go over the pass tomorrow together. We did. We got over the pass, and he starts looking around, and he's like, I thought there was going to be less snow in the valley. And I was like, this is like the highest snow year in the Sierras. Like, there's going to be a lot of snow. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to fight this. He's like, I think I'm just going to do this another time when I can swim in the lakes. And I was like, oh, okay. And he turned around and went back to town, like headed like he was gonna go back to town. And I was just like, I am officially alone in the Sierra Nevada. And that whole day I hiked alone, and then I got to a creek that was pretty sketchy, ended up camping literally on the trail right before the creek so I could wait to go over it in the morning. And this group rolls up, and this group of 4 guys that have been hiking together for a while. 2 knew each other when they started, but have picked up 2 more along the way. And so anyway, hung out with them that night and hiked with them through the rest of the Sierras. And Dibs ended up catching up with us, so we've got a group of 6 right now that's hanging out together. and have been pretty much since like 8 Mile 800 or so. So we're all here in town together, and we'll all leave together. So, I mean, you never know what can happen. You know, people have things come up or whatever where they have to get off trail, or if somebody gets sick or hurt, or hopefully not, but, you know, it's a possibility. So as of now, we're all together, but, you know, who knows what'll happen in the future. But I've really had a good time with them, and I've appreciated them watching my back, you know, and I've been doing the same for them, of course. So they call me like their little sister, and that's why I said they're the brothers I never wanted. Okay, so let's see. I meant to open that canister. Jay. I don't know what you mean. Like a bear opening it? I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, we will be seeing lots of snow pics from this year's. Oh, Lord. Pretty much every video or pic from this year has snow in it. So you'll get all the snow you want. I don't know if you'll get sick of it, but I sure did get sick of it. So, and apparently there's still some more to come, but yeah, I tried to video. You know, the only thing that I'm not sure that I could really represent in the videos is how sketchy some of those passes truly were, because when I'm sitting there like, okay, if I fall right now I'm gonna die, it was kind of hard to get video. So you know, I kind of videoed from a distance when I would see other people walking, but there were some pretty sketchy parts. So, but yeah, y'all will see a lot of snow. I work at a post office in Montana and get sad when I see supply boxes from CDT being returned unclaimed. Does that mean they quit or just didn't need the supplies? That's a good question. I would say probably a little bit of both. I mean, some people, I'm sure, thought maybe they would stop in a certain place and then decided to not go there, but in that instance, I mean, you work at the post office, so could they call and have it like sent ahead and pay postage for it at the next place if it was extra, or bounce it ahead if it was priority? I mean, I feel like they could do that, right? So so maybe they either forgot about it, they didn't know it was coming, it was like a surprise and somehow the message was lost, or yeah, they quit. I don't know. I did have something kind of similar like that happen. A friend of mine that I grew up with, she wanted to send me a care package while I was on the AT, and she asked my mom to get an address for the next place so that I would be surprised. And so my mom was like, hey, what's an address for the next place you'll be stopping? And I told her, but whenever my mom sends something, she's like, okay, I sent such and such and it will be there in 2 days or on Monday or this or whatever. But she never did that, so I thought, okay, she decided not to send something. And I felt bad being like, yo, Mom, did you send that package? Because, you know, I just didn't want to be like, I don't know, make her feel bad if she forgot or didn't or whatever. So she never said to me, yes, there's a package waiting for you at such and such. So it was like several months after I had finished the AT, like around Christmas or something, and my friend Ashley was like, so did you ever get that package? And I was like, what package? And I felt so awful. Here she thought I had gotten it and just didn't even care or thank her for it, you know. But anyway, she was able to call the outfitter and, you know, get it sent to my house and whatever. But so things like that could happen, but probably they just either decided to skip that area or, yeah, they quit. Let's see. Did you get a new knife? Yes, I did, actually. Hold on one second. Ooh, okay, I'm back. So I lost mine, or it was like taken while I was in Lone Pine. And so my buddy Patrick, MT Knives, he sent me another one, and this one's a black one, but I don't know if you can see, he put like the little homemade Wanderlust logo on it along with his. So I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I just picked this up in the last town. I was really excited because I just felt like, I don't know, like naked without having a knife. Like I was so used to wearing it and everything. But anyway, so yes, I did get a new one, but it's the same exact design. So which is the Genesis. Are you planning any more trips home or off trail? Or are you pretty much on the trail until you finish? I'm on the trail until I finish, or unless something unforeseeable happens, you know. But yeah, I'm here and I'm like just itching. Like actually I took a 0 yesterday and it's just like killing me right now. I'm like, oh, I need to get back out there and hike, but I still have a couple things to do in town, errands and stuff like that. So but yeah, I'm on the trail until I knock it out. Do you still have that umbrella? No, I sent it home actually at Kennedy Meadows, because even though I knew that I would be pretty exposed in the Sierra Nevada, I actually got a hat, which I'm not a hat person at all, but I wanted to have both of my hands because I knew I'd want to use my trekking pole and my ice axe, and be able to catch myself and just, I don't know, I didn't know how windy it would be because you're above tree line a lot, so I just sent home the umbrella, and I got a hat. It's actually it says Mount Whitney on it, so I got it in Lone Pine, and after I climbed Mount Whitney I was like, yeah, now I can wear it because I earned it. So anyway, I've got the hat. It's not terrible, but like I said, I just get hot in hats, and it just match your hair. I just don't like them, but I've made it work because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. That's cool that it's got your logo. Yeah, I thought that was really neat that he did that. He should do a special edition homemade Wanderlust knife. yeah, I'll tell him that. I don't know how he'll feel about that. He might be up for the challenge. Yeah, that would actually be really cool. But yeah, I thought it was neat that he put that little logo on there. I thought that was nice of him to do it. But yeah, he's my buddy through I don't know if y'all have heard me mention before in any videos the Survival Podcast, but it's like my favorite podcast and pretty much one of the only ones I listen to. But he's part of that community, so that's how I know him. But anyway, so yeah, if you're looking for a podcast, that's a good one to listen to. I call Jack Spirico, who's over it, I call him my podcast dad. So, but anyhow, yeah, I listened to it a lot, and that's actually I went and gave a presentation there, and the video is posted of that. I gave a presentation about backpacking and kind of how some of the gear could relate to preparedness and things like that. So, but anyway, so well, does anyone else have any other questions, or are we good? Because I'm still good to go. Normally these go about an hour, and we've got about 13 minutes or so left, but if nobody else has any questions, then we can call it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's been really exciting to tell y'all about. I mean, everything's exciting. Every day is a new adventure, and it's awesome. Okay, let's see. Is it true you get sunburn on the inside of your nose or a roof of your mouth? I didn't. Well, let me say this. I always, because I heard about that, I stuck sunscreen on my finger and stuck it up my nose, and twirled it around. So I guess you could get sunburn on your nose. I didn't have any issues with the roof of my mouth. But I did wear sunscreen a good bit. I honestly think that the sunscreen, dried my legs out. I don't know if it's just, what's in it or what, but my legs ended up getting, really dried out. I was using, 50 SPF, so my skin was hurting because it was so dry, and I ended up having to put lotion on it a lot. And now, I don't even really put it on my legs because they've got that base tan going. I know I should, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like when you put stuff like that on your skin every single day, it just, I don't know, sometimes can do more damage. But yeah, my face is pretty dark. I try to remember to put it on, but I wear the hat too, so but yeah, definitely no vitamin D shortage out here, that's for sure. Just wanted to say keep it up. I watch all your videos. Thank you, Rusty. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try, like I said, I try to, show y'all what it is like out here, and, as much as I can, kind of capture. So, but that's why I like doing these Q&As, because that, judging from what y'all ask here, I also, try to make sure that I capture some of that in the videos. What are the night skies like? Oh, beautiful. Like stars for days. That's why I really enjoy cowboy camping, and when I do, I always lay there and look, and I'm just like, wow, this is pretty awesome. And this is what it's all about, is just appreciating and enjoying things like that a lot of times in normal life you don't take the time to stop and smell the roses and go, oh wow, really, when's the last time you looked up at the sky and paid attention to the stars? I know in normal life I don't that often. So, and even out here, I'll catch myself like, wow, I haven't even paid attention to this. But we have been doing fires a lot lately, and are very careful with it, you know, do small fires, but and put them out and, you know, all that. But it's been really nice to have a group to sit around the fire with, and it feels good. You know, it feels like a tight-knit group. The group that I was kind of around before, it wasn't like leave no man behind. It was like, if you don't want to be left behind, you better be in front of the last man, you know. So it's really nice to have been around a group where we sit and we talk about the stars, and we sit and we look at the fire, and, you know, things like that. So it's been nice. Let's see. Did your plantar fasciitis improve with the new shoes? Yes. It was so, I mean, it's crazy. It's like you learn little things about your body. So my feet tell me when my shoes have 500 miles on them. Like, they're like, hello, we need more support, and I can start feeling twinge. And actually, I'm not exactly sure how many miles are on them now, but I felt a twinge the other day. So I've got my mom sending me a pair to, like, the next town, because I don't know. And it's so funny because I was thinking, you know, my shoes are getting kind of high up there in miles now. And then I felt that little twinge, and I was like, yep, time for another pair. It's just, and some people can go forever until their foot falls out, but my feet are just not, they won't let me do that. How has the PCT changed you versus the AT? I think, I don't know that it's any, it has changed me in a way that's necessarily different than the changes I saw myself on the AT. I think it's just reinforced some of it. So, like, the Sierras were pretty sketchy. Doable, but, like, I definitely have even more confidence after getting through that. And so many people flipped. Like, it was like a ghost town in the Sierras. Most people skipped ahead and didn't go through. I actually saw my first set of folks that had flipped, like, coming south just the other day at Carson Pass, and so it was kind of cool to talk to them about what's ahead. But I don't know, it felt pretty good, you know, them being like, wow, y'all went all the way through, and we're like, yep, we did all of it, you know. So I think just more confidence. I've spent a lot more time, I won't say alone out here, but just not connected with others as much. Much more than on the AT. So on the AT, it just felt like this constant, like, little family community whatever around me, and out here I haven't gotten that same feel. So I think just being more reliant on myself and I don't know, just toughing it out, you know, on bad days. But I think also I've got a new perspective that I can look back on the AT and how I was kind of like ready to be done, or like at the end, and how some of the tough days were really hard. But when I got done with the AT and went back to, like, normal life, you know, the synthetic world, then it was like I missed even those hard days on the AT, and I can look back and go, oh, you know, oh, I remember this and I remember that. But it's like I don't really focus on the negative, I just remember all the positive things. So on the days that are hard here, I go, you know what, you're gonna miss this one day. Like, when you're sitting at work, you're gonna miss this bad day, and you're really not gonna focus on the bad days. You're gonna remember the good memories. So I think that my perspective has changed a little bit because I've already done another trail. But for the most part, the things that I saw change in myself that were good changes, it's just like reinforced it. Okay. Have you hiked? Oh, let's see. Also, the crawl across the 700 mile mark was hilarious. Again, like, obviously I was just acting a fool doing that, but, like, he's talking about, like, when I crossed mile 700, I just, like crawled. But, I mean, you know, I had walked past all the other ones, and I literally felt like, I'm never gonna escape this desert. So that's just what I felt like. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna just share how I feel right now and act like a fool. But I'm glad you thought it was funny. I wasn't sure if it would get laughs or people rolling their eyes, but, you know, either way. Alright, have you night hiked through the snow and a full moon? You know, I haven't. I did night hike in the areas that had windmills. That was kind of cool. And didn't even have to use a headlamp because the moon was so full. But I have not actually hiked with my headlamp in the dark at night yet. I don't care to. The snow is too sketchy. I'd just rather knock it out. The days are long, so there are a lot of daylight hours. But that would be beautiful if I knew that I wasn't going to fall off a cliff somewhere. The Milky Way is awesome at high altitude. Yeah, it's pretty neat. We've pointed that out several times at night. If you keep making the PCT seem so awesome, it'll be way too crowded next year. Yeah, I mean, it is awesome, so I guess I'm just sharing, but yeah, it is a great trail. It's beautiful. I mean, the beauty out here is totally different than the beauty on the AT. You know, the AT is like the things that are in front of you, like the red F's that come out when it rains, and like how vibrant the forest is. And here it's like, you know, just like this massive beauty. But I don't know, here things seem so much more brutal too. Like, I don't know, unforgiving, you know, where the AT you feel kind of sheltered because you're in the green tunnel. But let's see. Do you know how that 70-year-old guy is doing? I guess you're probably talking about Grandpa, maybe the one that I was hiking around before, and I have no idea. All of the people that were in my bubble are, you know, pretty much way ahead, because if they did the Sierras, you know, they got through before me. And if they flipped or skipped the Sierras, then they're certainly way ahead. So I don't know. Did you change your footwear while you were in the snow? I didn't at all. I kept wearing trail runners, and they worked just fine. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you gotta have like sturdy boots and, you know, whatever. But I just don't do well with boots. You know, my Achilles had trouble with boots when I started the AT, so I won't go back to boots. Unless I just like had to for some reason, but I managed to make it through with trail runners just fine. And your feet are always wet in the Sierras, always. There's just water all the time, or snow, and you can, if you keep them dry for several hours, you're really doing something impressive. So, do you think you'll ever go back to the Sierras JMT when it's not under 100 foot of snow? I kind of would love to. I kind of would love to see what it looks like. And, you know, I had a guy that I ran into when I was coming over Kearsarge, and we were just like, there's just snow for days, you know, just trompsing through it. And he met me, he was heading my way, and he was like, man, I keep trying to tell myself, and I don't remember if this was back in June or if, no, it was the beginning of July. He's like, I keep trying to tell myself, like, you know, that this is July, and I just can't believe it with all the snow. And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, what would it normally look like? And he's like, there would literally be no snow right here in July on a normal year. And I mean, we were just on like just piles of it, you know. So I would like to come back, but I don't know when, you know, because I mean, there are just so many trails, so many things that need to be hiked. But yeah, I would love to come back and visit. I'm hoping to do the JMT in 2018, and it'll be my first real hike, and it seems you've missed it really because of the conditions this year. You know, I reckon, I guess you could look at it like that, you know, like I missed it. Or for me, I don't know, I just look at it like I saw it like most people don't usually get to see it. So, because most years it's not like this, and so I've gotten to see it like in a winter wonderland, you know, even like Christmas in July or something, and that's just kind of the way I look at it. And that's why I went ahead through, because I know, like I said, a lot of folks that skipped and are coming back, they'll see it what it more usually looks like. But I don't know, I feel like this is special. Like, this is something that should be seen and experienced, and I can always come back in a, you know, in a normal year. But yeah, I know a lot of JMTers that just had the permit to through hike the JMT this year and just decided not to. So there is a Muir Ranch trail. Well, Muir Ranch there's a side trail to it, but anyhow, a lot of times they say that the hiker box there is great because the JMTers bring like way too much food, and then they leave some of it in the hiker box. But I didn't even bother because there are like no JMTers, not that many out there anyway this year. So I was like, there won't be that much. And sure enough, some of the folks that did go said that, you know, that it wasn't worth the side trail for. So I'm glad it didn't. Let's see, Bob. Hey, Bob from Cambridge, Ohio. I bought a pair of Ultras, working out great. Good. I'm glad that you like them. I really do love them. I really like them a lot. Dixie, thanks for taking time out for us. We appreciate it. Well, I appreciate y'all. I mean, you know, without your support and the encouragement, especially, like, I don't know, when y'all cheer me on and stuff, like, it just, I do read it, and it, you know, it really helps, especially on days that, you know, aren't going the best. So thank you for spending some time with your Patreon crew. Safe travels going forward. Thank you, Gary. And what you call the synthetic world, I call the Matrix. Stole that from you or something. Yeah, early riser. Yeah, it is. I didn't know he called it the Matrix, but yeah, it is. That's what it seems like. You know, you're so like plugged in, and once you get away from it, you really start to notice like how plugged in and how your mind is kind of controlled, I guess. So really proud of you. It's an honor to be your patron. Thank you. Chocolate Balls gave you a shout out. Thanks for sharing your trip. Well, thank you, Mac, and I hope that everything's going well for you. And I saw that you had posted a video on my page the other day, so I'm gonna go look at that. Whenever I got service on the trail, it wasn't like enough to play it. You were like robotish, so I'll go check it out as soon as I get off here, actually. If I've learned anything from you, it's to have a positive outlook for everything. That's what is so impressive about you. Well, thank you, Ron. I don't know, I guess I get it from my mom, I reckon. I mean, I don't feel like I'm always that positive. Like, sometimes, you know, you have your moments, but, I don't know, my mom, when I was little, like, she would be like, let's go get lost. Like, we would ride roads and stuff, and she'd be like, let's go see if we can get lost. So, instead of, like, you know, now when I feel like I'm lost, it's like exciting or something, you know what I mean, instead of like, oh my god, we're lost, you know. And my mom made everything fun. She just little dumb things that I can't even give you a good example. Well, we had a Coke machine outside of our house when I was little, and like, I mean, we were so broke. We were so bad off. But the Coke machine, like, police officers in the neighborhood would stop by and, you know, get stuff out of the Coke machine. And Mom was so tricky. She had like this mystery button, and people knew that every third or fourth drink would be a Yoo-hoo. So like, people would sit there and buy like several drinks so they could get the Yoo-hoo out. And but anyway, whenever we opened that Coke machine, it was like the most exciting thing in the world to see like how many quarters were in it, you know. And then we would like go get like milk and ice because our ice maker was broken. I don't know. Anyway, this is a silly story to share. But anyhow, my mom just always had a way of making like the smallest things so fun. And she's a very positive person, and you know, I'm thankful that that she's passed some of that on to me. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And let's see what else we have here. Just watched your crossing the line video again just yesterday. Love it. Yeah, that's my mom's fault too. Oh, the guy that made that card and wrote the book, and there's a book now apparently on Cross the Line, but the guy that designed that card contacted me because he saw the video on YouTube, and he was like, I'd love to send you a new card, and he did, and he sent the book too, and I told him, you know, I'd finish it when I'd read it when I finished the trail. So I'm really excited to read that book because I feel like it's got to be probably pretty good. So anyway, I don't know if y'all are interested in that at all. You can get those cards online and the book. Actually, I think on that video I added a link to where you can find all that stuff. So anyhow, I don't know, it's kind of cool, like somebody that affected my life so much like emailed me, and I was really excited about that. That was pretty neat. But anyhow, well, thank y'all very much. Again, I couldn't be out here without all of y'all supporting me in one way or another. So I really appreciate that. And I guess, you know, I'm not exactly sure when I will do the next live stream, but as soon as I get somewhere that's got good Wi-Fi. That's why I know it would be better and more helpful if I could like tell y'all way ahead of time, but sometimes I don't know, you know, how I hate to be like, yeah, I'm totally gonna do it, and then it be crappy service and not be able to do it. So but anyway, I try to tell y'all when I figure it out, you know, as quickly as I can. So hopefully, you know, within the next week or two, I'll be somewhere where I'll have good service again. But anyway, thank y'all so much, and thanks for believing in me. You know, like when I told y'all I was going in the Sierras, it wasn't like, no, don't do it. It was like, yeah, you've got this, you know. So that really helped me a lot, probably more than y'all know. So anyway, let's see, you've probably answered this. Have you caught Perk? I haven't yet, Bob, but he's only like 65 miles ahead of me right now, so I think I will be able to. I think he's kind of taking his time a little bit, hoping that I'll be able to catch him. So hopefully he'll be back in the videos and stuff. But anyway, well, y'all have a good afternoon and enjoy your Saturday. It's the middle of the weekend, so hey, make the rest of it count. And we'll see y'all later.